All right, moderates, watch out. The socialists are stepping up to fill the leadership vacuum in the Democrat Party. Bernie Sanders and AOC are hitting the road with their Fighting Oligarchy tour in red and blue states, taking aim at the usual suspects like Elon Musk and President Trump. But they are also throwing some shade at their own. Watch.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too. I want you to look at every level of office around and support Democrats who fight, because those are the ones who can actually beat Republicans.
You got guys playing defense, but they also play offense. Our offense is to remind us all and every person in this country, we are the wealthiest nation in the history of this world.
But the moderate wing of the party is doing their best to counter AOC. Democratic Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin fired this shot. Listen closely.
I can't just chain myself to the White House and become an activist full time, because you and others here are going to call me for things that you need. All of those things require me to be more than just an AOC. Everyone you mentioned has a lot of words. But what have they actually done to change the situation with Donald Trump?
But if all else fails, the Bidens are looking for a comeback. NBC News reporting that former President Joe Biden and his wife, former First Lady Jill Biden, have been putting out some feelers to Democratic leaders and saying, look, we can help you. We can do fundraising. We can campaign. We can do anything else necessary to help Democrats recover the lost ground. And boy, it's lost, Janine. It is down to about 27%. So they've been in Delaware, I guess, for a little while. He's going back and forth to Washington, D.C. on the Amtrak, I know. But they're starting to put out some feelers. You guys, I think you need some help from the two of us.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if no one calls, and I don't think they should sit and wait beside their phone. Look, Joe Biden and Jill, I think in the end, the mess that happened with Kamala Harris is going to be attributed to Joe Biden and to Jill, okay? But having said all that, I really want to talk about the message. They want someone who fights. They want someone who does actions, according to Elise Slotkin, actions over words. And, does that mean that you don't talk about things that, you get out there and you torch things or you burn things up? I'm not sure what that means. And plus, I think it's kind of crazy that they want to fight an oligarchy when I think it was Fetterman the other day said, I don't think the Democrats should use the word oligarchy. The American people don't know what it means. And I don't think they know what it means, especially Bernie Sanders, because he's a socialist. And the truth is that, socialists control pretty much every aspect of your society, and they want to fight the oligarchy. I mean, I don't quite get it all. But this is a whole bunch of nothing from a whole bunch of nobodies, because Donald Trump broke the Democrat Party. They don't have a message. They don't have a messenger. They just want to fight. They don't know what they want to fight about. Half of them are happy about what's going on with the torching of the Tesla vehicles. Nobody's coming out against it other than Ro Khanna and maybe Bernie Sanders. They're in the middle of an abyss. They don't know what to do. And, I think in the end, the party is going to be split. They say they're like the Republican Party when the Tea Party came in and kind of fractured it. They've got like two Tea Parties. They don't know who they are or what they're about. And, if final note, if AOC wants to say they're the party of the working Americans, don't let her forget that she wouldn't allow Amazon to come to Queens, that there were 25,000 jobs that would have been available, $4 billion in lost wages, $4 billion in additional business to local businesses. Don't even use the word AOC.
Jess, I have the same question when she talks about fighting, wanting someone who fights and fighting the oligarchy. What does that actually mean to you as you hear it?
It means that we need representatives that want to be out there with the people, holding rallies and town halls, people who are talking about what's going on in the administration, the trade-offs of, Trump wanting trillions in tax cuts for people who earn a ton of money, and that they're going to come and cut your Medicaid. She's talking about people that are open and honest and responsive, and people who admit what's going on, the harsh realities of what's going on in some blue cities, which is, she had been talking about it. And this week I've mentioned in it every day, but Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson's new book, Abundance, is coursing through the conversation in Democratic circles. So, AOC and Bernie, you can call them radicals. They're democratic socialists. They're talking about things like, it should be a basic human right to have good health care and to have the right to a good education and a roof over your head and be able to make enough money to put food on the table. That's not where, listen, Democratic Socialists is the left side of the party for sure, but they are bringing in crowds. He has more people showing up to his rallies now than even when he was running for president, and he had big crowds at that moment. The reason, though, that this isn't a Tea Party movement within our party, at least at this point, is that you're not seeing progressives winning their elections. They're not primarying moderates and winning it all. Moderates were hugely successful in the 2024 election on the congressional and Senate level, which is part of what Elisa Slotkin's talking about. She won Michigan as a moderate Dem when Donald Trump won as well. But Pritzker's getting on the road, and these town halls, they're huge. 800 for Pat Ryan, 1,300 for Jason Crow. That's what fighting is. It's showing up.
Tea Party, Jesse. When I think of the Tea Party, I think about smaller government and less regulation and lower taxes that pushed the Republican Party back to those roots. I'm trying to figure out, do they want more government, larger government? Is that where a fringe Tea Party would push the Democrat Party at this point?
Well, we know what they
parallel?
want, and no one wants it. It was DEI, it was trans surgeries, it was cash bail. It's been rejected, and it's all based in cities. The Tea Party was a national movement. It was intergenerational, and they won massive midterms. And it wasn't just in the House. They put Tea Party people in the Senate. And Trump came out of the Tea Party. So I don't see a Tea Party yet, but it could be fun to watch. I'm afraid what it's going to look like if Democrats fight harder. They shot him.
Yeah.
They fined him $500 million. They tried to strip him off the ballot. They impeached him twice. They had a guy with a gun show up to a Supreme Court justice's house after they accused him of rape. I mean, literally, what more can you guys do? The only thing that you haven't done is shut down the government. Be my guest. Because then we'll find out who is really an essential worker. But you're right, Jessica. You actually define fighting better than I've ever heard anybody. Because right now, your party thinks fighting is like throwing a cane at Trump. That's not fighting with a little sign. That's nothing. I think what you guys need to do is recruit, raise money, and with the midterms. Great. And then you can start doing things.
We had our strongest grassroots fundraising month, actually.
I'm so excited for you.
Well, maybe Kamala will come in and
fighting the oligarchy, Greg.
Yeah.
Is that resonating
How
with
long
Americans?
are we going to ignore the big story here? AOC saying fart. I mean, come on. You have me on this show and you don't even bring up the fact that she says fart? That's from hanging around Bernie, you know what I mean? Ooh, baby.
That's from the man with the poop mug.
That message truly stinks. But, Bernie and AOC, do you think they're banging the wrong drum here? No, the message. For example, I've never actually said the word oligarchy out loud until today. Oligarchy. What's next? Plutocracies? Shall we target plutocracies on behalf of the proletariat? I mean, that might make the purple man buns in the quad swoon, but it ain't gonna fly in the living room, kiddos. When they talk about fighting, they're saying they need a Trump. That's what they're saying. But I'm going to define what an oligarchy is and where you can find one. It means government by the few. So the only way an oligarchy can exist is if it's non-transparent. But what's the most transparent government in history? The one that shows you where your money's being spent, the one that releases files on assassinations, the one that answers every single question you ask them, the one that tweets or posts every single action and tells you ahead of time what they're going to do. If Trump, the administration, is an oligarchy, it's the worst one ever. And you know what? If it was, he would show you how it's done. He'd go, oh, yeah, this is an oligarchy. Come on over here. I'll show you it. But so where do you find real oligarchies? They're at about 3 or 4 places. Unions. They're oligarchies. They maintain the illusion of democracy and collectivism, but it's just elites up top who run and maintain total control because that's the survival. A union is now like a political party. Biden's White House, complete non-transparency. We still don't know who ran the country. What's the trademark of oligarchy? Secrecy. The White House was covered up. It's the only president we've ever had that was a cutout. You know, nameless few directing it. That's an oligarchy. Then you look at Hollywood. You look at the legacy media. They're all oligarchies. They're run by the few, and You know who's outside the oligarchy? The right. We're not in it.
I think they are banging that drum.
They're banging. They're definitely
drum.
banging the
wrong
wrong
Banging
drum.
the wrong drum.
Yeah.
And they're farting. A farting couple is a happy couple.
Probably true.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to shake that image from my mind.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.